Welcome back, dear viewers, to this broadcast of the finals of the promotional tournament here at ESLOL League of Legends. Now, we are a bit in a dire situation for the SLOTHS as Dynasty is currently 2-0 with match point in this best of 5 series. And it's now or never for the SLOTHS to turn things around, pull all the stops and grab a win. And we'll see how they do that in a bit together with my wonderful co-casters of tonight, Dino and QG. Welcome back, guys. Dear.
I hope this is not the last salute, by the way, because it's getting close to it.
It's looking dire right now. It's looking dire. I mean, Dynasty with, 2-0 means 1 win equals the win. This time around, and overall they are in the driver's seat. They've shown us that even Ardafla coming back is not gonna change the situation. Actually, Ardafla coming back somehow made Dynasty way stronger. I mean, this was a huge win they just took on the SLOTHS, and if they keep this going, it's gonna be terrifying.
I'm gonna say something that on a surface level sounds pretty dumb, but I like to talk a lot, so I'll fix it afterwards. The worst thing that can happen to a winning team, like their biggest weakness is losing, which at first sounds dumb, right? But what SLOTHS experienced as a team is they were the top dog, the alpha. The entire summer split, they couldn't lose a game. They couldn't drop a game. They go into playoffs unbeaten. The only moment in time where they lost some games was in the finals against Dynasty. In the end they eke out a 3-2. So in the end you can be like, oh, you know, we were still the better team. We were still the strongest team. We dropped some games, so everything is fine. So you don't really get confronted with mistakes you make with weaknesses. Then you go into this promo relegation. First series you lose. You're like, oh, it's a substitute situation. You know, maybe we can fix that. Maybe if we get our AD carry back, everything will be all right. You make a lower bracket run. You make it to the finals. Dynasty's there again. Suddenly you're 2-0 down. And you're like, wait. Maybe we are not the strongest team in the world. Maybe we can lose games. Maybe we shouldn't have ego checked the last draft, and you get a lot of doubts in your head. Then if you look at this from a perspective of Dynasty, they are the grinders. They are the gladiators. They were the 4th seed in the summer playoffs. They had no business of making that summer finals, but they somehow came alive around best of 5s. They, out of nowhere, out of all the losses, took the right lessons. And they, in best of 5, seem to be a team that downloads information really well and plays around with it. Now in summer, in the promotion series, they basically are in the driving seat in the finals. They didn't drop a game they didn't drop a series, but they dropped a lot of games in the upper bracket. So they learned a lot on the patch while still having that confidence of side selection. And now you're 2-0 up against SLOTHS. You have nothing to lose. Like, you can lose 2 games. The third game that you would play in that scenario, that's the first game you have something to lose. And that's the scariest Dynasty, because they like to flex picks around. They like to play really loose with some champions. And they are known to break stuff out like a chase and completely change as a team. So for me, on the Rift entertainment stream right now, looking at the results, I'm like, do something, but go back to comfort. Because Dynasty right now is completely unleashed, and the only way to rein them in is to make sure that your players feel comfortable when they go onto the Rift.
Yeah, and the thing is, you said it was a dumb thing to say, but I remember Skara saying they were winning until they were losing, right? And that's the thing. The SLOTHS were winning until they lost, and now it's hard to come back from that. Also, I think Dynasty, they have more games in their pocket in these playoff situations, and you have more, not more experience, but as a 5 group, you are more confident if you play more games, and that you see. The draft still hasn't changed. We have the same 4 match. Oh, we see something else. Oh, we are cooking today. But yeah, the Lisandro is gone. So maybe now it's time for the Jace Kaiser, or the Varus Jace.
Yeah, but I like dropping this Lissandra because what I didn't want to see was a run back again, of course, but also you're on blue side and now the Nocturne, which is something they used to ban, was open. So you force Dynasty to ban the Nocturne, leaves the checks open if you want it for Lex. At the same time, you now completely changed the iteration of the first draft, and I just want them on blue side to not go instantly for that Zeri, to not go for something like that Jarvan that also has a one-dimensional playstyle, but to set themselves up for success and take some power picks. I want to see Shredded on something that can really dictate the tempo. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
We
feels
still go for
bad.
the Zeri. Okay, we'll tank the Zeri one. Just the second and the third pick are gonna be different.
Please, please.
Please, Sloths, please. But yeah, it still could be, but there's Rakan
This order change, no?
Shinsan.
Yeah, the order changed. I think they want to secure these two champs that have been really good in team fights for themselves because they saw that slots are changing up the draft as well with the ban of Lissandra. And this now they can wait on Frankie's pick a bit more because they picked up the Lissandra pretty early as well, along with the Varus. They don't show if they want to go for AD. They can still go for the Varus because there's no way for Ristal to really answer that. And I think with Frankie not having that Lissandra available to as a default answer on what Bukan is doing with stuff like the Ahri, they need to give Frankie some more time in draft to counter whatever's happening in mid-jungle.
Yeah, and you also have still some decent picks that you can go. You can still go for the Ahri here to just to pick up, and the counter pick is banned, but they go again for the Jarvan. And the Dynasty cannot choose, do they want an AD carry or do you want the mid laner here? For themselves, I think you should go for the ADC because there are not many ADCs left that are very, very strong. But there are a good mid laner still out there, and there's the Ezreal for the safe pick against the Jarvan and the Leona. Just to peel.
I really liked the securing the Rakan, I want to say earlier, because I think that's something that didn't shine always too much, but Crablord did an amazing job on that Rakan through and through, and he was such a huge baiting tool, and I really like the way you put it. Rakan is super elusive, and whenever they were like, oh yeah, we have an engage on Crablord, boom, the rest of Dynasty crashes onto them, and such a huge pick for Dynasty, and I think SLOTHS have to be really careful about Crablord's Rakan also going into this.
What I would like to see from Frankie is to just like they're now banning Kassadin. Maybe you also ban, let's say, LeBlanc, and then you just blind the Ahri yourself. That would be like the ultimate throwing down the gauntlet. We have the mental edge move because you still keep some counter pick for Asagi. You don't really run into a Jax situation where you don't have the right champion against it. Or you ban the Jax and you blind pick for Asagi and you just, as Frankie, wait. But looking at his champion pool, without Lissandra, you see Zera, Jace, Silas are his best champions that they've played recently. All of those are pretty easy to answer for Bakan if you look at over what he plays.
Yeah, there's still Orianna on the list that you can still pick in situations like this.
I think SLOTHS expected the same that you said here, Dino.
Yeah, I like this because the LeBlanc ban, then they ban out the Ahri themselves. Now the mid-champion pools are like really diluted. The Nico was a pocket pick of Frankie that Bakan also played in his promo relegation, so it's something that pops up again. It has a lot of teamfight potential, but right now you're staring down the barrel of a mid-counter pick and Lex just going for something that works in a split push. Like, any of his champions would make a dent into the team you build. Gwen can buy so much time against an Ezreal, against a Nico. You could have Camille in the side lane for easy engage as well when they try to get out of the Leona Jarvan composition. So for Ristals, this draft's already looking way better than the first two.
Yeah, it looks better. There's more stuff to do, and there's Camille also. So this is a complete change up, aside from two champions. For Dynasty it's almost the same. Also two champs that are old, probably three that are new. So what are you going against the Camille. Can you actually play well
Olaf,
against
maybe?
Camille? Yeah, Olaf or
Oh, he's going Jax
yeah,
himself.
Jax.
Okay. So I was looking at, like, Zac is also something he plays, of course. But yeah, the Jax, it's a bit of a flippy matchup. So I want to see what Humelu and Shredder are gonna do, because in the bot lane, Dynasty can leave the bot lane on island. They should never, ever, 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 ever die. Because if Ezreal were gone, so if they die, it's their own mistake. Like you just over pressured. You just walked up too far. You didn't have any vision. Looking at mid lane, you have Victor. It's a slow scaling champion. Nico has some ability with the W to run out of the stun zone, so really shouldn't be an issue as long as Shredded is not ganking. So then you look like, okay, what lane is actually volatile? And it's going to be Alex against Asagi. That's a 1v1. Like, if you give one of those two champions 2 kills, the game's over. Like, the other just can't play the lane. So that's what I keep my eyes on in the early games. Like, Humelu and Shredded, what are we doing? Are we trying to dive those safe lanes, or are we actually fist fighting topside?
I think it's gonna be a fist fight topside, because we love the direct camera jumping on top. And just
For nothing.
having for nothing. We love these tanks hammering down with the rasp. But
Oh, there's a Drake being made. No, but top lane, they just used one ability each. Look at top lane. I don't care.
You see on the island on the north, there's a fight going on, a war being spread. It's Freljord against Freljord, and there's just Piltover against Ionia, or where is Jax from? Nobody knows. He's just a wanderer.
He's
I think
originally from...
He's from Ionia, but he has, if I'm correct on the Lodel, he has 3 regions, and I know that Iona is one of them.
Well, we'll see how it goes down. A lot of pressure for both top laners in this game in any case, as we're headed into the Summoner's Rift for this match set for Dynasty, who are 2-0 in this best of 5 series already. Tensions are high, as it is now or never to pick up the win in these finals.
So they went for a semi-invade, but they didn't actually place the ward, so they leave empty-handed, kind of. Because you don't really get any vision, you don't really get any information of where Shred is with the Jarvan. While if you look at the minimap, Rift slots actually got a ward down on the blue buff. They can see if Humelu starts blue or red. So slight lead for Rift in the information department. It doesn't do that much, but it's a slight lead. What I did want to go into is, you see that Ardafler, he's like, okay, Flash Ghost, I have a lot more sticking potential. I don't need heal to be safe. I don't need cleanse in these matchups. And he can start to cull so that he can at least comfortably scale if it's just a farm lane. Now, what people underestimate around an Ezreal is that a good Ezreal at level 2 and level 3 is actually a really strong laner and can actually go for aggressive plays as well. So that's why I want to keep track of what Humelu is planning, because for now, just overstacking ganks on bot side has given them the win 2 games out of, well, the both games they played. So if they just do that again, but around to Israel, when it's a surprise for Rift slots, then this game could really be thrown a wrench into.
Yeah, and it looks as the Rift slots are again up on that level 2, and now Dynasty just lose the advantage. They back off into the tower, they have to give off some minions. Now we have the level 2 is around. And also what I think is important, the map is split between Humelu and Shredded. That means the focus is for Dynasty is on bot side. And Shredded just knows, yeah, we can't do anything there. We just see if Beacon can get a lead. With Humelu with the level 3 gank here. No. See, the direct camera just doesn't want the tension.
He wants to look at the best Jack skin in game.
Yeah, the hoot lands, and that's quite a bit of damage on Bekan, but also on Humelu gets in turret range. But that does leave Frankie in a good position in the lane, I think.
That it does, but it also takes some pressure out of the bot side of the map, because Humelu is pretty low. Now, a Xin Zhao in jungle can sustain up pretty far. Rifts, they just bounced away from the bot tower, so what they want to do is now have a freeze underneath their own tower. I think Humulo's job will be to break that open. At the moment for Dynasty, this is a slower start in the last game, but it's still okay. Looking at the composition of Rifts, they have way more tools if they just play out an even game. They don't really have outplay potential like they used to, but they also don't have to bank on it. They don't have stuff like the Ahri, the Akali, but they have the split push of a Camille to look forward to, and they have the confidence of scaling in the hands of Ardafler and Bekan.
Yeah, and we see pressure on top, but that's it.
Yeah, that is it, and the back, the legs, and right. When I think, and also something worth mentioning. So we said that Dynasty are currently in the good mental state. They have all the reason to be in the good mental state because they just won. One thing we cannot forget that I think doesn't happen too often, but can happen, is that they get too overconfident, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that the Rifts can play around, especially with something as aggressive as a Leona. If the enemy is at some point too confident, if they do have the Ezreal Rakan that's in a bit of a too cocky position, they can quickly react to that and bank on it. And I definitely think that's to be kept in mind here.
Yeah, we see that Lex also reset after he pushed out the wave to go for his Sheet to recall, but he uses TP. He has the Sheen up right now. So in that 1v1 it should be pretty safe, but Humulu by now should be clearing his top side. It's something you should know as well, so need to be careful for a stacked wave for a potential dive, and that's why you see they set up some vision in the river. As you said, you can expect some overconfidence for some teams, but I think Dynasty, because they have been the underdog in most situations, they have less of a tendency to become overconfident in a situation like this because they know all too well the pain of losing, and they're not really used to being that dominant team that goes 2-0 up. So in that regard, like even against the Pertinax, they played a 3-2 series, right? So they're probably still in this game mentally. It's more up to the comfort of Rifts having scaling for Bekan, scaling for Ardafler, knowing that if it's an even game, our team fighting will come alive, and you have Lex finally on a champion that can really split push. That should make the difference for them in this game.
Yeah, it's... But the first dragon is still controlled by Dynasty here. There's no sloth being seen. And that's just saying it's still the same as the 2 games before. Dynasty has control on bot side. Top side looks even.
You see a small gold lead right now for results. It's tiny, but it's 300 gold. You have a kill that's halfway finished for this area as well. So it's an early dragon, 6 minutes in, it's okay. It's just not something you should worry about as a Rifts fan. Right now, you're just looking at your players and be like, okay, let's just keep it a bit calmer than the first one. Let's just keep it even way more calmer than the second one. And then if we get into mid-game, let's see if we can out-team fight this team. Because Dynasty, in the team fights, even though when they had a lead in the first game, the second game the lead was just too big, sometimes the team fights got a bit dicey. And that's what Rifts can bank on. Like, if we just get an even game state at 15 and 20 minutes, and we get one good team fight where we're not running into vision, then we can actually be a menace to this Dynasty lineup.
Yeah, and also Rakan can just roam, and the Ezreal is fine with that in a 2v1 situation. That's the safety where you can take the Ezreal, and then you can put out pressure with a roaming support as Rakan. So, that's very good for them. The Jarvan that is really a champion that's good at ganking is just farming up, and he's still slower than Humulu, but yeah, no, they're actually as fast. No, it's a bit slow.
Yeah,
so
slightly slower.
the big benefit that Dynasty has right now is they have that Jarvan Xin Zhao run back again. Humulu is making a huge difference in this series. They just used the slight pressure at bot side to invade the red buff. Now Humulu gets double red. He gets to play for the second neutral objective without even being contested. They just caught that Jarvan gank in the bot lane. Ooh, Hasagi, that's actually a huge play.
I really like how he keeps that pressure onto Lex the whole time through and through.
He did burn his ulti, so it does give a slight opening to Lex, but he needs to be careful because we see Humulu on the Rift Herald already.
Yeah, and I think Shredded, if I look at the minimap, Shredded is always at the other edge of Humulu, and that's the... Oh, nice.
That's
That's
lot
a
of
bad
damage on Humulu.
way.
First blood goes to Lex, and Hazaki might even die as well. That's 2 kills for Lex, and that's huge for the Rift Sloths.
Okay, let's just wait for this play first.
Yeah, in the bot lane here we have the engage. Krell getting a lot of damage from Grizzin as well. Ignite is out, and Dynasty decides to take the chase with the poke from Dark UniQ, and Frank coming in from the middle lane. Here comes the Blossom. It hits. 1 kill for Dynasty. Frankie gets really low, however, but is able to retreat in the Tribush. And the other Flan now on to Dark UniQ. They have now too little mana, and he keeps on chasing. A load of damage falling out here. Ooh.
Okay, so I can't wait on the replay for the top side dive, because Humulu had all the tempo, all the swagger, all the confidence, but they kind of completely misplay that dive because they don't really get the interrupt that they wanted to find. So what you really want there, if the Xin Zhao goes into tank the turret, is with the ulti you want to knock the Camille back, but a good flash response from Lex makes sure that he doesn't even get knocked back, and then he has the Hextech ultimatum to lock him under the tower when he's already tanking it. And it turns it into a 2-for-1, which is pretty insane, because that should never happen. You get a double kill when you're getting dived, and suddenly Dynasty, their lead, is kind of gone.
Yeah, and did Lex flash the...
He flashed the Xin Zhao ult, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and now another gang on the top lane from Shredded this time around. However, Hazaki reacts quickly. And what I also really like is Lex got 2 kills. He was lower than Hazaki going into this tower dive, but he also pulled out 2 flashes in the same fight. This is huge overall, and now we have a gang on the middle as Grizzin gets caught here, goes in onto Frankie, some players out, a lot of damage falling onto him, however, as he dies at the hands of Humulu. Adafla now comes in just a bit too late, and that's how it goes.
Pretty close one there for Grizzin. I like the fact that he goes for an aggressive engage with the support of Bakan doing some damage, and then Ardefler rotating first. Sadly, Dynasty still get off the play, good control over the river, and a nice collapse. So they might be able to get that second dragon. You know that Shredded doesn't really have the ulti because he used it topside, so this should be a free dragon to take, and it should give you some tempo back in the game.
Ooh, he wanted to go for it there.
Yeah, that happened.
That happens.
Oh, okay. So let's just look at how this mid fight went. So Humulu, he finds an engage on Grizzin because they're playing with vision. They see him walk over wards and they know where he's about to be. Grizzin then tries to re-engage up on Frankie because he's at Leona, has his ulti available. But sadly, the secondary damage, for primary damage is in place. You have the Victor trying to unload his skills. Secondary damage of our Daffler, you need to wait for it a bit. He didn't have Ghosts up to get there fast. And that's how Dynasty actually win out on that play.
Yeah, and it's closer. The Sloths are keeping the Dynasty in check. It looks way better than the 2 games before, but that was because of a failed dive, I think.
Yeah, they lost a lot of tempo there.
Yeah, because the Jarvan is still not in the game, I think. In my opinion, Jarvan has done nothing.
Yeah, I'm not too happy with the Jarvan. We were talking about it in the break as well, where you have to change some stuff up. I wanted to see Shredded on something that has more agency. And I think Humulu has been winning out the Xin Zhao Jarvan trade too much. So with a Nocturne being banned by Dynasty, I think that was one of the plans that Ristos was going for. Like blue side, we leave Nocturne open. If they don't ban it, we can take it. But you could still try to go for something like the Kane, the Kha'Zix, something that can really change the tempo of a best of 5. But as you said, Jarvan, right now, he goes in, he uses Cataclysm, someone flashes out, and that's basically all is getting done right now.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, the Xin Zhao is just way stronger in a 2v1 or a 2v2 or even a 1v1 situation. You have more damage because you're more reliable on your auto attacks than Jarvan is. And also with the attack speed, the knock up, and the healing you have in your kit, it's not as supportive as Jarvan. Or in a 1v1 situation, so he has to take care of Humelu. And
Yeah,
Humelu
Sagi-
already has.
He has Flash, so you need to be careful.
Oh, here we have the tower
Oh,
coming
nice
in. Oh
flash.
no, the solar flag comes after
Risen
the
is dead.
flash.
Oh,
I was saying a storm.
Is
I was
rolled?
thinking a
Is
storm
rolled?
is brewing.
Oh, he's not firing it. Well,
Oh,
as I
that's
said, he has
it's
Flash,
down,
they
it's
need to
down,
be
it's down.
careful. Oh, yeah, it's down. He actually fired it before, that's sad. But they can actually go for top tower now. I think if you play this aggressive enough, you're already linking up Rakan Xin Zhao, which is something they took first rotation, by the way. So something they really wanted to play. So now what you can do is you can invade jungle, put down vision, go for Rift Herald, and then take one tower off the map. And I think that's what they're doing. So it actually buys them some tempo. Sadly for Asagi, it doesn't make the same insane plays as Lex, so he doesn't get 2 kills out of getting dope.
no. But I think that's why they picked Ezreal, to just have Grablord roam with us with Humelu and just get a lot of pressure. Because they probably saw in the first game and the second game that they can have the pressure of the jungle support duo, and they wanted to enhance that with an Ezreal, who is like the safest person on the planet, as a solo AD carry. There's no AD carry that's safer.
We saw the gold leads just now. We saw 600 gold lead for Ardafler because his skill got finished. But we also saw a 1k gold lead for Humulu up against Reddit, or about 900 gold. For the rest, Jax and Camille, even though Camille got 2 kills, are pretty even. Mid lane is also even. So for now, Dynasty, they still kind of have the tempo because they have 2 dragons. They're setting up for the third one. They just now made a play topside. They have a Rift Herald in their back pocket, so they can actually choose what they do on the map more than Rift Heralds can. Rift Slots can, sorry. And the Rift Slots, what they have to do is they basically need to take over some vision control in the river, so they don't walk into these blind spots, so they can react properly when Dynasty go for a play.
Yeah, there's also Dragon coming up. Shredded is not picked.
Yeah, this was very close. I mean, he almost got hit by everything that did as he played.
It's good from him to hug the wall because he's walking into blind spots and that gives him a safety net.
Held on the mid lane. Tensions are
Oh.
rising. They do
Oh,
get
nice.
tier 1 here. Rotating towards Drake as well as the spawning.
Xin
That's
Zhao doesn't
no-
have ult, yeah.
Yeah, that's no ult for
Yeah.
the dragon fight, but I think there's no fight. Asaki is going to bully Lex away. Now they're coming in.
Dynasty still have vision control, and this is where Rift Slots lost a lot of fights, where they're walking into blind spots of vision. They have one good ward in the river, but that's about it. They know when the dragon is started with this one. TP back in from the Camille.
Coming in, they got the vision with the fast side trinket. He's standing around, 2-shot barrage, a lot of damage falling onto him. Pop Blossom onto 3 people, Frankie, but it's a shutdown that comes in against Lags, and the situation goes crazy. It is almost even, but Riftsloves now get a glimpse onto Frankie. 3v2 it is now, and they keep on pushing onto Humlu, and Crablock risen a bit too far behind, comes in just in time to maybe save Ardaflu, gets really low. No, Humlu picks up the kill, but now it's a 2v1 against Humlu. Does he get Grizzin? No, he doesn't. That's Shredder who picks up the kill.
And this is what we want to see from Rift Slots. It's a team fight where they are almost even they're running into vision, and they just completely outfight Dynasty because they have the right target selection, and Dynasty doesn't really get to find a way out. You have huge moments for Dynasty. A Pop Blossom that hits onto almost everyone that's important from the Rift slots, because even our Defler is caught into it. But our Defler, he's the hero of this play. He gets to free hit a lot. There's a lot of damage going down on the Israel because he's channeling his ulti in a choke point where you have an instant collapse from Lex. And that's what you see the difference with Rift slots when they have comfort champions. Even when the Jarvan is so far behind, is so big, because just having that playmaking ability on Lex on something like a Camille makes night and day difference in a team fight.
Yeah, and Ardafla could just hit. It was not focused. He had static shift plus the static shift ult from Zeri, and he can just shred everybody and hit front to back, or even whatever there is, and it just jumps to another one, and that hits hard if you hit everybody. I don't want to see the damage graph of this fight because I think it's insane.
Yeah.
For
Good
our
thing we
Defler
don't
here.
have damage graphs to see it.
So, what is worrying a bit is you have that huge fight, you get the dragon, but you're still not that far in a lead. Like, you're only 500 gold up. Now, the benefit is that you just struck some fear into Dynasty's hearts, where they are pretty much dictating a tempo. They had vision control, put the Rift Herald mid, go towards the dragon. They are calling the shots, and you just outfight them for the first time almost in this series. And that is something that Dynasty needs to be careful about, where even though Hasagi on the Jax is looking okay, Lex's impact on the Camille is just way more. Dark Unique on the Ezreal was out of position once, and you lose an entire team fight, and that's something that you can't repeat this game.
No, but Hasagi is ahead in this as the Jax against the Camille, so he's probably stronger. Is he going for the Styrex as second item?
Yeah,
Is that
he overall also always pushes Lex back. I mean, he's always got the upper hand when they're 1v1 in a situation, which is very good because we saw how dangerous or how much of a problem Lex can be for Dynasty, and having Hasagi who is able to kind of keep him in check is huge for Dynasty right now.
nice sync?
So, not only did they win the last team fight, they also delayed any soul ambitions that Dynasty might have had. Ocean Soul would have been a huge problem because you already have a slight advantage in regards to having the range of an Ezreal poking down on you, having Jax in the side lane that was a little bit ahead, so trades would be unfavorable if you ever give over the Ocean Soul. That's something that Rift Heralds bought for themselves in the last fight. They just need to make sure that they have some more vision down, because as you can see, Dynasty has been playing around vision in the river for a long time. They are forcing you to move up into their vision pockets, and it's really hard for Rift slots to get enough vision down to counter this, and that gives Dynasty the upper hand in all of the plays.
Yeah.
Oh! I thought he was going to interrupt the back port.
Yeah, but it was a Nico clone backing, so...
Oh, I didn't. I did not pay that much.
Did you get baited by the Nico clone?
No, I drank a sip of water
nice.
and then I saw that and was like, When even the person with full information gets baited by the clone. Oh, I feel
Frankie is so
bad.
good at Nico, he's baiting our shotcaster.
I've been molded by a lot of Nico in the first division, so by now when I see Nico, I just instantly think it's a clone. And that's basically the safer approach.
Yeah, but the first thing that's a minion.
Oh, Frankie?
No, that didn't go too well. I think Ardafla saw that out very early on. Traveler tries to find purchase, but
Oh, get out,
Slot
get out,
really
get
has
out.
to fall back. We have the TP coming in now from Lex. We have to see Sianumalu. He is gonna die in a matter of seconds now with Lex's damage on top of it there. And that's one member down for Dynasty. They should not fight this. Prison goes in the middle of it. He takes a lot of damage, but the team is able to now follow up. Now it sounds like he's time to shine, but he takes a lot of damage in the Cataclysm. Nice! Dark Unique Q takes out Ardefla, and the situation turns around. Now it's Pecan who's gonna fall. Shredded and Lex, 2 members left, have to fall back, and Dynasty is now back in the driver's seat.
Okay, so in the end he dies to Dot, but man, oh man, oh man, Dynasty turning this fight up on his head. Rift Slots, when they are at their strongest, normally they win every team fight. Losing that one must sting a bit, because they basically should have won this one. You see Frankie's ult go miss, the Khan flashes out, then the re-engage of Craplord is a bit awkward, and you have this amazing solo flare that just sets you up for the first pick. The Xin Zhao ult is not that clean. So now you're basically already in a winning position. It's just the difference that has been made by Dark Unique and Hasagi is huge. With his first disengage and Hasagi buying time for his team, jumping out of the primary engage, making sure that the fight is really chaotic. It's just in the end, the Leandries of Victor ticking down Dark Unique that only makes it a pretty close fight.
Ah, well, that sucks. But
I'm just kind of aghast by Dark Unique. The precision, it's a surgical precision he had there to hit the targets he had to hit in between all of this chaos and the enemy team going around. You gotta give him so much credit for that.
yeah, his positioning was very nice. He just hammered down the go button and just
Oh, Hummelu!
Yeah, engage onto Ardefla, who gets really low, but it's Dark Unique Q's the first to fall as Rift Flops react really good. Pop blossom on 2 people, very nice. From Frankie, the damage on Pecan is huge, and he is gonna fall here. TP coming in now from Hasagi, as 2 members of the Rift Slavs are down, only for 1 from Dynasty. And the Slavs are now forced to fall back. Oh no, they keep on chasing. They do find purchase onto Grizz, and that's a killing spree for Hummelu.
Yeah, they should convert this into Baron. The TP actually saved a lot for Dynasty, because you saw Lex on the map rotating first. Hasagi had to TP in, but it also gave them priority over the fight to be able to pick up some exit kills. And now they should try to convert it, do it to a Baron, but I think Rift Slots are going to fight for this one.
can they? 2v4. No TP. TP on Beacon.
A lot of damage falling on to Craplord from
Okay,
Lex.
Lex.
Goes on to him, he picks up the kill, but now Hasagi is dead. He's huge currently. We have TP now coming in from Khan, but Lex starts
they're
to get
doing
really
it.
low. Shredded is there, he gets
No
the kill
way.
on to Frankie. Now Khan is dead. Hummelu almost dead. Now it's time for Ardefla to join back into the fight. Hasagi gets low, they pick up the kill. Dark Unique Q all low. Tries to pick up a return kill, but dies as well. That's the ace for the Rift Sloths.
How do you win that fight? I mean, I saw Ardefla was about to respawn, but there's no way he gets through that fight in time if you don't outplay the entirety of Dynasty, and that's exactly what Shredded and Lex do. What an amazing fight on the back foot. It doesn't only give them the ace, it gives them the Baron, it gives them tempo in this game, and it might even keep the series alive.
It gives them the lead. That's the important thing. Now, how do you? Let us see that again. Okay, so.
You don't have
They are
ult on
going
Frankie and he's off HP, so Craplord and Frankie are actually trying to make sure that Shredded and Lex don't get into the pit. But I think Frankie should be hitting the Baron here, because you basically want to go for the flip. You want Hasagi to go over the wall when Shredded tries to go for the steal. And now, because they're so split, you give Lex time to 1v1 the Rakan, and then the TP comes in, as you called out. Pecan was a 1 with the TP, so by the time they try to get Lex down with Dark Unique arriving and Asagi actually chasing Lex out, they don't have enough in the tank to confirm the fights. They don't have enough tank in the tank to confirm the kills, and it takes such a long time that Ardefla has time to respawn and walk into the fight with Ghost, which is maybe something they underestimated.
Yeah, this was. Dark Unique also missed some Qs, so as he would have get a kill. Wow, what a fight from Lex and Shredded.
I think Dynasty did not expect the
moly.
Rift Sloths to
No.
fight back here, and that's why their communication was so wonky. They were too focused on the Baron at first, and now it's the Rift Sloths who took it, and the gold difference is now starting to show. 4k in favor for Rift Sloths, whereas before it was very close all the time between the two teams.
Yeah, and they already scale better into the late game. You have both Seri and Victor that make it so that if you're hard engaged on a fight and you don't really get any kills, the fight is pretty much doomed and lost. They took some vision control in the river and they reset at a good time because in 50 seconds the Ocean Soul is going to spawn for Dynasty. Their pick potential just decreased as well with the kills going over to the right people. You now finally see a Jarvan with 3 items that can just engage without instantly dying. So for Dynasty, this is the moment where they could win the series, but also lose it at the same time.
Or maybe the counter energy from Ripslov onto Dynasty. Yazaki caught alone in the Cataclysm is going to get a lot of damage from the Ripslov's team. Thanks to that route, he survives a bit longer, but that's already huge. Yazaki is a big player for Dynasty. Now Frankie dies before the Pop Blossom even comes out. 5v3, Dynasty is forced to fall back. And Bukan now comes in from the side, maybe finds... No. That's it, they are able to... Oh no, Lex is onto DarkUniQ, but 1v3 is still a bit too risky here.
This is where Rift actually won the game, as long as they just play it out comfortably. You see Dynasty over-forcing for one engage, and that's how beautiful that come from Rift slots is. When you don't really land something on the first engage, you basically automatically win the fight afterwards. And I think Dynasty, they just wanted to go for that play, see if they can turn the game back around, but they also know that they're fighting against a scaling composition that just got an ace and a Baron buff, so they know they're on the back foot.
Yeah, now I think there is no soul for Dynasty. We have to have so much pressure, so much tempo to just keep it. Oh, but there's also
TP in the back, TP in the back.
Yeah, they're gonna chase him away.
But Ripsov is still rather healthy. They have such a big item advantage right now because of the huge gold difference. I mean, you look at DarkUniQ here starting his 3rd item. Adafla is already starting his 4th item, and those differences are just so huge. They are starting to do the
Look at Frankie
from behind with the Pop Blossom, doesn't hit anybody, and the CC is now coming in, a lot of damage falling on to Crabble, first to fall. They try to get the count, but they don't, and Shredded in the meantime. 1v1 DarkUniQ, Humulu is next to fall, and with that, Dynasty is started to get shredded through Adaflow with a beautiful kiting here. Picks up another kill. Frankie might get the return kill. No, he does not. It's Picard who gets it. And that's another ace for the Ripslovs, and they go to finish the game with that.
Yeah, they keep the series alive. It's going to be 2-1 for a Dynasty, but Ripslovs, they finally take the first game when they go back to a bit more of comfort. Almost Dynasty found some desperation plays at the end, but Ripslovs, they at least make sure that we go to a 4th game and that they don't go out of the series winless.
No, they are actually coming back. It's the reverse sweep for the Rift Sloths. It's starting. That means that it can happen. The Silver Scrapes, as you say it in league terms.
Silver Scrapes for the Ripslovs, absolutely. And most importantly, once they grabbed a bit of control in this game, they extended it and they started building a huge snowball. I mean, it was one fight that flipped it all, and from that they were able to absolutely take control of the game. And I think that is a huge boost to the morale that they definitely needed to go into the next game. Of course, Dynasty still has match points, so if they win, they win. There's still a lot of pressure on the Rift Sloths right now, but I think with this win, they could grab a 2nd win and carry that over the next few games, actually.
Yeah, I do think for Dynasty, like, you were still in control. You had one bad Baron call after you won a fight. It's something that shouldn't have too much of an impact on your mental. But for Ripslots, this was a huge win because you just go back to comfort. You call out in draft already, like, if you take Seri and Victor, which are both scaling options, which are both a bit slower, we can survive the early game long enough. We can still trade the Zinzao for a Jarvan, which is something I even questioned. And we can actually go for a mid to late game where we will shine through in team fights, even though we're 2-0 behind. And I think that's what they had to show for themselves, that those strengths that they used to have in the past, they still work. For Dynasty, they went for that Zinzao Rakan really early in draft. I still like what they did there. I think afterwards they didn't really get enough out of the draft. You got Ezreal, you got Nico. Both are situationally strong champs, but are really hard to execute against the champs that Ripslots took now. So for them, it's going to be an easier adaptation. I think Ripslots, they are still at the same position. They're just mentally a bit more fit, where it's like, okay, it's still a best of one, you know, like next game, best of one. We are the kings of best of one. We didn't drop a single best of one. in the regular season, so we can fall back on that. But it's up to Dynasty to shake things up a bit, and Riftslots only have one failure left inside of them, and if that one happens, Dynasty actually wins the promotion tournament.
Yeah, it's only one game for Dynasty, and for Riftslots it's 2 games. So Dynasty are still have the upper hand here, and yeah, is my curse broken, or my go button?
Is
I
it
don't know, who had the
over?
most go buttons?
Yeah, let me see. Camille, Jarvan, Leona. That's 3 champs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Shinsao, Nico, and Craplot. It's still on. We have 3 it's still on. You
Oh,
see,
boy.
you see. We have that thing going on.
It keeps on going.
It keeps on going. The go button meme is still alive. As for playoffs, as for today, yeah, I still think this game shifted very much into the Riftslots side from the start. From this 2-man dive that happened against Lax, where Lax outplayed both Humelu and Hasagi, and then it got a bit of a lead, and then took that lead and just dealt the damage. That's the thing. Don't give a top laner 2 kills, else he's gonna kill your teammates.
Yeah, he was definitely very, very strong in this team. And what I liked is they had those scattering team fights. You know, like they scattered Dynasty apart every single time. They were able to eliminate someone from the rest of the group, take them apart, pick them off. Like in the last team fight, it happened as well. Shredded took Dark UniQ completely out of the equation, did the 1v1 and so on. And if they keep going on those, I mean, they're on a good path, but pressure is still surely high for the Riftslots. We'll see if they can keep their performance up for the next game, or if Dynasty is able to get back in full control of this best of 5 after a short break where we're headed to in order to prepare the champ select and catch a breather. So we'll see you very soon.